Sternritter E the Explode, Bambietta Basterbine possesses a Schrift bestowed upon her by Yhwach, which allows her to generate powerful explosives. Bambietta's abilities are prominently showcased during a battle against Komamura, and unlike many of the other Sternritter whose Schrift abilities are based upon complex scientific principles or reality-bending feats, Bambietta's powers are relatively straightforward and they are very easy to understand. So in this video I'm going to be analysing and breaking down everything that there is to know about Bambietta's Schrift, including how it operates, and exploring whether if her abilities are affected by her zombification. Be sure to stick around until the very end of this video, as I'll also be revealing exclusive information about Bambietta's Schrift from the Can't Fear Unworld light novels when she goes up against opponents like Hikone. So without further delay, let's begin my complete breakdown and analysis of Sternritter E Bambietta Basterbine's Schrift, The Explode. Before the video begins, only 20% of the people who actually watch my content are subscribed to the channel. If you enjoy these videos, then subscribe and stick around for more content just like this. Now let's get back to the topic of the video. These Sternritter are a group of elite soldiers amongst the Wandenreich, and there are roughly 26 members who have each been granted a Schrift personally from Yhwach. A Schrift or a script refers to the unique powers of a specific Quincy, which is awoken after receiving a portion of Yhwach's power directly. Schrift abilities typically enhance the natural talents that a Quincy already possesses. When a Quincy dies, the powers that have been bestowed upon them by Yhwach return to him. But in the case of Bambietta Basterbine, because she never truly dies and she's in a zombified undead state, her Schrift did not end up returning to Yhwach. Bambietta's Schrift The Explode is one of the more straightforward abilities among the Quincy, as it allows her to transform any reishi that she touches into bombs. For those unfortunate enough to be on the receiving end of her attacks, it can result in their very skin being turned into an explosive. During the Thousand-Year Blood War arc, Bambietta plays a significant role in both the first and second Quincy invasions. Her battle against Seijin Komamura stands out as one of the most thrilling fights in the series, and it showcases Komamura utilizing his humanization technique in order to counteract her explosives. In this video, I'll begin by breaking down the abilities of the Explode and how it functions during Bambietta's key battles. I'll also explore how her Schrift changes when she enters her holy form, the ultimate form of a Quincy that greatly enhances that ability to manipulate spirit particles. In her holy form or her Volstandig, Bambietta's Schrift is amplified and she gains 2 wings and a halo which are made from spirit particles. Additionally, I'll also be talking about the weaknesses of this Schrift ability and how her abilities are affected by her zombification. Like all Quincy's, Bambietta's combat effectiveness hinges on her ability to manipulate reishi. Reishi are the spiritual energy particles that compose all spiritual beings and objects in spiritual dimensions. Bambietta's intense battle with Komamura unfolds in chapters 554 to 557. This is where we gain critical insights into how her abilities work. It's important to note that Bambietta only releases her Schrift after all of these stolen Bankai are returned to their respective Shinigami. In chapter 554, Yhwach grants the Sternritter the ability to activate their holy forms, and Bambietta reveals that they were unable to use this power while in possession of the Shinigami's Bankai. When Shinji attempts to confuse Bambietta by activating his Zanpakuto Sakanade, she simply counters him with an explosion. This demonstrates the overwhelming power of her ability. Even though Bambietta admits that she can't discern directions due to Sakanade's effects, she declares that she can just blast in every single direction and thus neutralize the threat of Shinji. As Bambietta continues to unleash her explosive attacks, Hinamori tries to intervene, only to be stopped by Komamura. Komamura warns that Bambietta's bombs are far too powerful for Momo to neutralize with her Zanpakuto. This interaction highlights the devastating power of her Schrift, which is strong enough to challenge even captains and lieutenants. When Komamura struggles to withstand the force of Bambietta's explosions, she takes the opportunity to explain how her Schrift The Explode works. Bambietta reveals that her attacks are unblockable, and this isn't because the bombs themselves are composed of spirit particles, but because her Schrift allows her to transform anything her reishi touches into a bomb, and this is effective for organic or inorganic matter. As Bambietta unleashes another barrage of bombs, Komamura's armor is completely obliterated, and it reveals his true human form underneath it. In order to counter Bambietta's Schrift, Komamura is forced to unleash his Bankai Kokujo Tengen Myo Dangaijo. This is the only effective countermeasure against Bambietta's ability. Komamura explains that his Bankai typically manifests as a suit of armor brought to life. However, in its Dangaijo form, the Bankai sheds its armor, leaving only pure exposed Reiatsu. This transformation renders Bambietta's attacks ineffective against it. Confused by this turn of events, Bambietta reasserts her belief that her Schrift should be able to turn anything a Reiatsu touches into a bomb, including Komamura's now giant Bankai. However, Komamura, having cast aside his life by removing the armor from his Bankai, explains that he has nothing left to fear. Even when Bambietta tries to strike Komamura directly, her bombs fail to affect him, as his Bankai again is immune to her attacks and it deflects them with ease. In the enhanced form of the Explode, Bambietta is able to release endless spheres of reishi bombs using her Explode ability. These bombs are released from under her wings and it sends multiple explosions into the area around her. A single explosion is enough to combat Captain class individuals like Komamura and Shinji. One of the main weaknesses of the Explode is revealed during Giselle's fight against Mayuri. When the zombified corpse of Bambietta appears on the battlefield, Mayuri is able to deflect her attacks within 3 seconds by using spirit particle suspension devices. These are devices that can cause any spirit particles that they come into contact with to cease all activity for a specific length of time. So when Bambietta's attacks are launched, the suspension devices neutralize the spirit particles, thus preventing them from becoming bombs. Another limitation of Bambietta's Schrift is demonstrated during a fight with Komamura. Her explosive attacks can be neutralized if they are met with enough force. Within the Can't Fear Unworld light novels, it's revealed that some of the Sternritter were either captured or had taken refuge within Hueco-Mundo. Bambietta belongs to the latter group as she was hiding alongside Lil Toto and Giselle. Lil Toto observes that Bambietta's mental state is deteriorating, though she remains capable of utilizing her Schrift the Explode, and she can still fight against average Arrancar or Hollow opponents. During her battle with Rudbon's soldiers in Hueco-Mundo, Bambietta attempts to use the Explode against his Arrancar soldiers, but despite her increasingly reckless bombing tactics, she struggles to keep up with the overwhelming numbers of enemies. Loli and Minoli comment that Bambietta's strength is comparable to that of Kilgei Oppi. Rudbon notes that Bambietta's Reishi has the ability to turn anything that it touches into explosives. Bambietta's Reishi itself does not inherently possess explosive properties, and it can be fired rapidly. Rudbon deduces that waiting for Bambietta to exhaust her spiritual pressure would be an unwise strategy. He then uses his Zanpakuto Arbol's ability Calvaraz to absorb the Reishi in Hueco-Mundo through his roots, creating an endless supply of loyal soldiers. The sheer number of newly created Skull soldiers eventually outpaces Bambietta's ability to destroy them with her explosions. Later within the light novels, when Tokinara travels to the Valley of Screams, the Quincy's engage in battle with Hikone. Bambietta tries to attack Hikone by sending several spheres of Reishi towards him, and when Hikone touches these Reishi bombs, they trigger a chain of explosions. From these encounters in the light novels, it becomes clear that the Explode remains just as powerful even in Bambietta's zombified state. However, against an opponent like Hikone, the damage inflicted is minimal. This is due to Hikone's remarkable recovery abilities, which are similar to those of Hollows, thus allowing him to rapidly regenerate. During Bambietta's attack on the Hollow Ikomikidomoe, she unleashes a massive barrage of Reishi from her hand. This attack is described as a Reishi light, and it transforms into a rain of explosive fire when it reaches Ikomikidomoe. Bambietta's Schrift is a fitting fitting reflection of her personality. She is a vindictive, vengeful, and petulant individual who always demands to have things her way. Even in a zombified state, Bambietta can effectively utilize her Schrift, but because of her diminished mental capacity, it does cause her reishi bombs to be scattered haphazardly. One of the most striking aspects of Bambietta's Schrift is its straightforward nature. Unlike more complex or psychological powers such as Asnod's the Fear, which manipulates perception, or Gremmy's the Visionary, which alters reality, the Explode is just direct and forceful. I would categorize Bambietta's ability alongside others like Lil Toto's the Glutton, or Driscoll Bercy's the Overkill, and even Meninas's Schrift called the Power. These are all abilities designed for direct impact, and they become even more powerful when the user activates their holy form. Since Bambietta survives by the end of the series, it's intriguing to consider whether if Kubo might bring a character back in the Hell arc. Her power, despite its simplicity, is very powerful and it matches her aggressive disposition. I do hope that this video has helped you to better understand the Schrift ability of Bambietta and how it works, along with the significant role that it played during Bambietta's battle against Komamura and how it is still being used even after the Thousand-Year Blood War arc, as we've seen within the Can't Fear Unworld light novels. We've now reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What do you guys think about Bambietta's The Explode? If I've forgotten to mention anything about this Schrift ability, then let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I cannot wait to see you in my next Bleach Explained video. A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.